learn how to handle these issues. Which one's there? School, home, you know, pick one that you never thought would happen again when you came back to Bryan. You never in your life thought it was ever going to happen again when you left Indian River and came back to Bryan.
This school.
Okay, talk about school.
I remember they were expecting me to be low drop like 2 weeks now.
I started beginning. I know what you mean.
Like when I first came here, like before I went blocked up, I always got felt like I never made any of my grades. Always got bad grades.
In school here, you were what level were you?
Off trust.
Off trust. So you were at the bottom of the rung.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
And then when I came out here, this first years when they first started people up to level 2.
This time.
Yeah.
So they gave you a cookie. They didn't start you at the bottom. They gave you 2 steps up, way I figured. Okay, so they put you at level 2, even though you didn't have to earn it. And what they remembered before of you was that you was way down the bottom, right? All right, go on.
And like I kept on doing good and everything, and I was doing good all of them.
True.
Like I was supposed to be a little 4, and I just lost.
What happened to 3?
I was on a class of 3. I was thinking like.
Since you've been back here, you went from 2 to 3.
And I was about to be on 4 Friday.
Friday when?
Last Friday.
Last Friday, even though after that stuff on the bus, or with the teacher. You thought you were going to 4, or you was hoping to go to 4?
I was for sure going to 4.
After what happened with that teacher?
They looked at me once, but then it took me like a couple days to get it back. They partial dropped.
They level dropped you for what happened to the teacher.
Right.
To a what?
It's a partial drop.
It's a partial level. They go to 1 or not?
No, it took a couple more days away.
What level were you?
A 3.
Go on.
And I was about to be on level 4 that Friday, and then I low dropped.
Last Friday?
Yeah. Because they said I called it this one teacher, my name, which I don't recall it at all.
Whose words you gonna be? Yours or theirs? You learned that at Indian River. Go on.
And so I just came back and I started just getting mad at everything outside.
Oh, you started pouting.
Yeah.
Friday.
Today. This morning.
Oh, you stood over all weekend?
No. This weekend I didn't leave.
When did they drop you?
Friday.
Friday. And did you have school yesterday?
No. Well, I did, but I didn't go.
Because?
Court.
Oh, that's right. We had to talk about that. Wait a minute. Court wasn't until the afternoon.
It was at 2. I was there.
So why didn't you come to school in the morning? We'll talk about that later. So go on. So now this is your first time back to school today.
Right.
Since Friday, when you got the bad news, when you thought, and I can't believe you thought that, after all that crap that happened last week with you and that teacher, you actually thought you were going to go up a level. Come on, Cody. You're lucky they didn't throw you out of here. You're lucky they didn't throw a rope over that tree and hang you. Did they file charges on you? Are they going to file charges on you? Did you thank them and promise you'll never ever do something that stupid again?
So I'm sorry.
Okay, I think you've heard enough of that. I'd like to tell you that's an exception, but it's probably pretty typical. It starts out, of course, what's your name? Forget about your name. What's your ID? Most of it's around berating them, ridicule. Certainly, you have a youth did he have some risky situations? Yeah, you think the officer was helping them work through that and giving them the skills, right? So that was fairly typical. This one is going to be a video. As I said, this is a young man that got out. He's a little older now. In Ohio, we keep them, they can be under supervision to 21.
Oh yeah, I just made a drop off right now.
Excellent. All right. Very good. So let's talk about that homework a little bit here.
There you go.
Let's see. All right. So we definitely have a situation to talk about, huh?
Yeah, it was stressful.
Why don't you tell me a little bit about the external piece, the situation?
Well, it was, since I've been out, I really ain't seen too many of my friends lately. So one of them all of a sudden just popped up. I don't know how he found out I was out because I ain't calling him nothing.
Where did you see him at?
He came to my house.
Oh, so he knocked on the door.
Yeah.
That definitely goes against your plan to avoid everyone, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So tell me what
was thinking, I'm like, how did he know I was even out? That's what I was thinking at first, because I looked at the people. I'm like, I didn't know I was even home. I'm like, he always peer pressure me too. I don't like this friend right here for real, because he always trying to peer pressure me to do something. Even when I told him that I'm not doing that behavior no more, so.
So you were thinking, what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what choice did you make?
I opened the door and hollered at him. We had a nice little conversation talking about the old days. So he gonna peer pressure me once again, and I done went to the bar. There was smoke everywhere. He tried to give me a drink, but I didn't drink, but it was still a crazy situation that I really ain't want to be in.
Sounds like you did well by not drinking, but you also put yourself at risk
Heavy risk.
by going to the bar with him.
Now the smoke around probably could have got in my system, so if I got a dirty pee, I just told you what.
And we'll talk about that. We'll definitely try to drop together after this and kind of see where that goes. But let's talk a little bit more about when he was kind of at the door and those thoughts you were having that led up to you deciding to open the door for him. Some of those thoughts were, man, how did he find me? How did I get here? But there were certainly some other thoughts that must have influenced you to
Just thinking about, we childhood friends, so I really could not open the door and holler at him. Just thinking about some of the old days, good times we had. So I figured going to the bar wouldn't want to be too bad. I don't want to smoke a drink, even though it could be a trigger.
So those memories, those thoughts of the old days were kind of some powerful reasons why you decided to go to the bar. Still didn't want to get in trouble, so it sounds like you were trying to manage the situation.
Yes.
Since you couldn't avoid it since he was right there.
Yes, ma'am.
Hopefully that urine comes back clean. As you said, you didn't smoke, you didn't drink, so that is good news. But this isn't going to be the last time that he probably comes knocking on the door, is it?
No.
So what are we going to
Said
do?
he'll call me in a couple days. I'm going to have to change my number.
You already know he plans on trying to hang out with you again. So what I want to maybe talk with you about today is what we can do when he calls back, or maybe someone else shows up on the porch, or kind of, some other high-risk situations from your friends that might just kind of fall into place like this one did. And we can talk a little bit about what you can do in those situations.
Okay.
Would you be willing to talk about that?
Sure.
Okay. What I have is one of the skills that maybe you learned in River City, or kind of like those skills, I should say, that you learned in River City with the active listening, giving feedback. There's a skill that falls into dealing with friends called avoiding trouble with others. And I'd like to just talk a little bit about how you can use that skill to maybe help deal with situations like this so that you don't end up at the bar. Because this time you made a good choice once you got to the bar, but what if we can backtrack and avoid the bar altogether? So when you think about avoiding friends that can get you into trouble, or avoiding trouble with your friends, what might be one of the first decisions that you have to make?
First, just tell him that I'm not doing it no more, basically.
So before you even tell him, sounds like to me you need to decide if being with him or doing that thing could get you into trouble.
Right.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
So you need to first make a decision, hey, this could get me into trouble?
Yeah.
Would you mind writing that down so we can kind of keep a step-by-step process of how to do that? So once you decide that this could get you into trouble, the next question is, I know it can get me into trouble, or it might not get me into trouble, but do I want to avoid it? Because it sounds to me like in that situation when your buddy showed up at the door, you recognize, oh man, here we go again. I know this can't work out for the good, but yet, what happened?
I still went with him.
Still went with him. So we need something in there to decide, do I really want to make a different choice? Do I want to get out of this situation? So you think we could try that after that first step?
Yeah, we'll try.
Okay, so let's maybe say, is this a situation that could get me into trouble? And then next step, do I want to get out of this situation? Decide that. And then if you make the choice, I don't want to go to the bar, I don't want to get into trouble, do you think it's important to tell that other person that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so would that do you think that'd be the next logical step? Tell that other person what you decided?
Yes.
Okay. And then sometimes people